Lights, camera, action. Hollywood is filled with glitz and glamour. Several companies thrive from films. The modern culture of our society is broadcasted throughout time by movies. They comment on current and past events and use specific interpretations so the viewer can both take pleasure and understand a new perspective of either historical or imaginative events. Orson Welles did this back in 1941 when he created his first feature film from RKO Pictures called Citizen Kane, which is considered one of the greatest films of all time to this day. Citizen Kane was about a powerful man named Charles Foster Kane, and starts out on his deathbed and reflecting back on his life with his last word as Rosebud. But the controversy was that the fictional character very closely resembled the real-life newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst. The similarities were immense even in just the beginning of the film. Hearst had a large private zoo on his massive property. Kane had a large private zoo on his massive property. Hearst had a mansion on the west coast called Hearst Castle, while Kane had a mansion on the west coast called Xanadu. Hearst had feared the fall of his empire because of the release of Citizen Kane. During the film, Welles is mocking the life of Hearst and showing off all the failures and blemishes, but as the powerful man Hearst was, he would not let a random hooligan destroy his career. So he decided to simply destroy the film so there is no harm done to his reputation as a businessman. That was the origin of the matchup that would soon involve mudslinging, blacklisting, and more dirt than politics. Hearst found out about the film from one of his close journalists on one of his newspapers, Hedda Hopper, who saw it before the premiere and told Welles just to burn it, no harm done. From the maker of the War of the Worlds radio broadcast that brought panic to Americans, here is Orson Welles, who is now using actual events to scare America instead of fictional. Orson Welles just wanted to make a film showing off some of the tyrannical ways of American businessmen during their time, so the people of America would know what was going on under their noses. Welles was new to the filmmaking medium and was the most innovative in his camera angles and style portraying the story of Charles Foster Kane, like moving through objects or deep focusing.
A cameraman who didn't care if he was criticized if he failed, and I didn't know that there were things you couldn't do. So anything I could think up in my dreams, I attempted to photograph.
On the radio, he had complete freedom of speech, but now in film, when he tried to state his views, they got crushed by Hearst, who had significantly more money and a property that is over 80,000 acres, though Hearst was in his 70s and Welles was in his 20s. Welles would not let his hard work be squashed like a bug. He defended his work to ensure that in the end it would be published and viewed by the people. While on the other hand, William Randolph Hearst was running a variety of newspaper companies, magazines, and film productions, but he worked hard to get to where he was. Although he had a wealthy father, Hearst claimed he was a self-made man. Every penny he had, he worked for. His entire life revolved around working. No scrappy little pipsqueak was going to reign on the Hearst parade, so Hearst knew he had to decimate it. He blocked off all advertising for the premiere of the film in all of his newspapers and even convinced the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science not to give Welles an Oscar. If Citizen Kane did not have the power to ruin Hearst, it would not have been blacklisted by him, but since it was affecting Hearst on a personal and emotional level. Hearst was only a mere human. He had fears, and Welles was getting to him by producing Citizen Kane. The battle went to the extremes and brought in the government with the FBI because Hearst was good friends with an FBI agent, John Edgar Hoover, who wrote up a file accusing Welles of being a communist. If Citizen Kane released, Hearst's life would have been ruined, but if it did not release, Welles's life would be ruined. Yet after the premiere of the film, the ratings and reviews were astounding, but in turn it negatively impacted both Welles and Hearst. Hearst was desperate to maintain his reputation, because he feared his demise was nearing, even for the uncrowned king like himself.